Hi, it's Romy. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me if you're new, and if you're returning, thanks again for tuning in. Aries, this is your July 2020 reading. So if you're an Aries sun, rising or moon, it might resonate for you. This is a general tarot reading designed to give you insights on your own soul journey. And you might also like to check out your rising and your moon for a more comprehensive overview of the month ahead. If you're enjoying the work, you can go ahead and join me for the extended version of the reading. The details for that are in the description box underneath the video, as well as over on my website, romywyser.com. Okay, Aries, let's take a look, see what's coming through. Okay, Aries, let's take a look at July. So as I was connecting into your energy, I was reminded of this quote, which I then had to look up, and it's by Romy, and it's the quote that says, what you seek is seeking you. What you are seeking is seeking you. And that's what I really feel is some of the energy that you're going to be working with as we traverse through this month of July. We open up your reading with the Queen of Swords. This is a new deck, the Painted Tarot. So the Queen of Swords links into the element of air, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. But Cancer season for Aries rising particularly is 4th house, right? So it's working with what sustains you on a deep emotional level, so that you can figure out how you can grow in other areas of your life, how you can progress and move forward and find those things, those people, those opportunities, the energies that are just going to feel really deep and nourishing at a very profound level for you. So your Queen of Swords energy I like, because I think she's kind of cutting through an awful lot to get to the heart of the matter. Now, interestingly, this month on the 11th of July, Chiron, the wounded healer planet, is moving retrograde in your sign Aries. So this is really helping you to bring about some healing, but also to help figure out who you're becoming, right? On the understanding of dealing with all of the various emotional aspects of your soul self, and your physical self, and just like how you really balance out what's going on the internal emotional landscape versus how you want to show up in the world. Now, interestingly, Saturn is moving retrograde back into Capricorn again at the start of this month, and we also have a full moon eclipse in Capricorn. So the third of the series of eclipses. Now, this is 10th house for you. So again, it's about that legacy. It's about how you want to show up. It's about, seeing the way in which your reputationally things matter to you, your kind of public persona. But then Cancer season inviting you to figure out and make sense of that in terms of what you're really thinking and feeling on the inside. So I love the Queen of Swords for you, Aries, because she's helping you to make sense of that and to work through it in a I say logical, but I don't want to make that sound overly dry, because I still think it's in a very intuitive way. But I think that she's almost giving you that laser precision that's needed to perhaps make sense of like some of the emotions that are going on within you. What I also think is interesting is that as we work through 4th house energy in Cancer season, you are really focused upon who you want to feel close to, who represents that kind of feeling of safety in your world, what makes you feel emotionally secure. And perhaps you're feeling a little bit of the distance of that, whether it's been because you're physically away from family or friends or loved ones, because 4th house does rule that aspect of the chart, or whether you have been neglecting that kind of deeply mothering, nourishing energy towards yourself. I feel it's being highlighted to you and showing you exactly kind of where you're at the moment in that particular part of the journey. And it's important, right? Because these details are helping you to figure out your strategy and helping you to reimagine what comes next. Now, there's 2 new moons in Cancer. We had the first one on the 21st of June, which was when the solar eclipse and the solstice energy helped to rebalance and bring an awful lot of things up into the light. The second new moon comes in on the 20th of July. So you're having time to really process and figure out, the things that have unfolded within that time scale, and then almost like have a second opportunity to decide where you want to intentionally direct your energy. Page of Wands coming in I love for you, because here I have the heart. Yeah, I've got the heart and the soul of not only like the information that's being revealed, but what you want to do with it. So the Page of Wands comes in as a messenger, the way that you want to connect, the way you want to express how you feel, what you're looking for. Some of the new ideas and projects and inspirations that are beginning to land for you are all inviting you to step forward in an enthusiastic, in an exuberant, in an open, and in a joyful way. And I think that you need that. And actually, as we make our way towards Leo season, which is 5th house, and that very playful, creative, heart space energy, that's why doing the work at the beginning of the month is going to be so important, because it is going to reveal the way that your world is going to start to open up for you as this page comes through, which I really like. So now maybe there is another fire sign that you know could be into the equation. A Leo or Sagittarius, if you're dealing with that Page of Wands, or somebody that just is stepping forth this month in quite an excitable way. Actually, I get the energy coming through with this particular card as something that feels kind of youthful and sort of like they have something to share. They've got something exciting to kind of put forward as a proposal to you. Now, maybe it's going to show up as a new connection, either professionally, platonically, or romantically, or even just somebody that's going to come along and activate something within you that gives you cause for like, oh, okay, now I see where I could take this, or I see that there's more paths that are going to begin to open up for me. But I think that what you're looking to do in your energy is, in fact, draw in people who are making you feel safe, making you feel like you're able to be yourself. And here we have the Queen of Cups coming in, and it's kind of interesting if we look at the polar opposites of sort of Queen of Swords, Queen of Cups, both looking in towards the energy of this Page of Wands. Now, when I look at the essence of this as it pertains to you for this month, Aries, I think it really is how you are balancing up, you know, these two aspects of you, and that when you get it right, the synergy and the kind of fusion creates something really beautiful, right? So understand that any of the deeper, more emotional, more tender aspects, and also where things feel a little bit raw and kind of like almost brusque or harsh in terms of the delivery, whether it's coming from spirit or, you know, just you bumping up or knocking up against some experiences or having some conversations. Remember, Mercury is still retrograde until the 12th of the month, so we can feel a little bit wounded or tender or sensitive when things are not presented in a way that we really understand or that we expected, so to speak. But Venus moved direct on the 25th, so that will have helped in terms of some relationships. Some of you will have had some major changes and adjustments that took place during that transit. And again, I see you kind of taking the experience from that and figuring out what it means for you. Now, Queen of Cups energy is very healing. She's very receptive and she's very good listener. She's bringing kind of that knowing, that sense of, you know, there are moments through this month where you need to step back and kind of observe. You need to read the energy of different situations, and you need to look at what's happening. And as much as you can, like, even though you might be kind of desperate to jump in or to share or to kind of put your perspective forward, I feel like there's almost a little bit of a cautionary note to just say, you know what, just play with the possibility and figure out some plans behind the scenes, because all of these planets backspinning right now are inviting you to just figure out all of the details first before you burst forth. Now, as we get toward the end of the month and we've come out of Mercury retrograde and we're into that Leo energy, I think that's going to be a more fruitful time for you to start to play with that and actually start to take something forward from a physical initiation, so to speak. Now, on the 12th, we have a beautiful sun trine with Uranus, which I think is going to show you from a spiritual perspective the tremendous amount of growth and what you've been able to realize during this season and how it's affected you. Perhaps you have been reflecting back on just, you know, the way that you grew up, some of the conditioning, even linking in or perhaps being interested in Akashic records or past lives or understanding ancestral karma and how it's played out. And of course, when we look at what's happening in the collective on the world stage, and how have the changes have taken place, there is this moment of real epiphany, and there's a disruption and some chaos that needs to come in. Now, this doesn't need to be negative, Aries. In all honesty, I think that it's almost like when you bring oil and water together, you've got these two complete opposites. It's just like to find the middle ground, like something has to shift, something has to budge. And actually, again, like I'm almost feeling this Page of Wands, and maybe this is you trying to bring two parties together. Maybe you're trying to be the peacemaker in this, or maybe it's someone else like trying to bring you to the table with another, or I don't know, I just have this feeling of like there being a mediator almost energy. But the Tower comes in as that moment of like, okay, this has to change, something has to shift here, right? Remember that the Tower never comes along to disrupt our peace unnecessarily. These are fated events that are necessary, not just on your individual journey, but also within the collective, so that we become more, so that we are able to allow growth to take place. They form cracks in the pavement so that, we can reveal things and see where there are areas that need to be healed or that need to be adjusted, okay? But yes, it can feel uncomfortable, it can feel challenging and problematic. Now, perhaps you are dealing with someone, an air sign that is making liberation and change, profoundly in your world, and maybe that's welcome and maybe it's not. As you work your way through Cancer season in that 4th house, it could well be somebody connected into the family or who feels like soul family for you. If it's triggering you, I think there's an invitation to go deeper this month, Aries, and understand what it's trying to show you, because we have this beautiful healing energy of the star coming in. So again, this could link into an Aquarius energy, but I'm seeing you looking on as the observer in a profound change or something happening, like the catalyst of an event. And I honestly feel like this could, for some of you, kind of be playing on around the outskirts or the periphery, right? Of course, for others, this might be the emotional churn and change that's happening on the internal landscape. But I don't know, I just have the sense of it playing out around you. So the environment that this could happen, whether it be, at work or within the home life or in your social circle or your relationship, I think it's a change that's needed. I really do, because what comes from it is like the opening up and the expansion. And this month is so beautifully delivering that theme of expansion for us. It's like, how are we allowing ourselves to invite the growth that is so necessary to take everything to the next level? We need to take everything to the next level at this point. Now, that full moon in Capricorn, that's a partial lunar eclipse, is trining with Uranus. So it's bringing in some positive, unexpected change. And actually, like, I get that vibe as well. I just think in hindsight, you're going to look at whatever it is that's unfolding and you're going to think, wow, like, actually, this is really going to benefit me, So perhaps there's some disruption or chaos or change that, is going to end up being incredibly supportive for you. So you're being invited not to, make any decisions or come to any firm conclusions about how circumstances are evolving around you in the beginning part of the month, and just wait to see kind of what comes from it. Here we have the card of the Hierophant, so it does link into a Taurus energy, perhaps that's important, but I also feel like it's the theme, just around a sense of commitment, and perhaps for some of you, there's some new thoughts forming around what that looks like and what that feels like to you. Where do you want to commit? Where do you want to show up? Where do you want to align your energy with? And perhaps there's some, changing of the guards going on there, But as we kind of return to that theme that came out at the start of the reading, what you are seeking is seeking you. What we have to understand is that Spirit are kind of trying to create a pathway in the fastest possible way to get you to the right people, the right instruments, the right opportunities and energies to be able to help realize that vision that you have and that desire that you have. So again, the Tower energy is necessary to come in to uproot that. I think there's some really interesting learning that you're going to gain, and I see it being incredibly valuable, okay? So regardless of what you experience through this month of July, when you're moving toward the end of the year and we're starting to realize at that Cancer full moon what these new moons really represented and the progress that we've been able to make, I think you're going to understand the significance and the importance. And remember, we're closing out the eclipses of the Cancer Capricorn axis that we've been working with in the last 18 months. So that's having a significant impact in these areas of your life. And then as we move forward into the Gemini Sagittarius, and we've got that big solar eclipse in December with Sag, I think you are set to see, the impact of so much of what is played out through these summer months. So here we have the King of Swords. There's a lot of concentration of this element of air. Now, you're a cardinal energy, and Cancer is also a cardinal sign. So, you want to get moving. You want to initiate something. And perhaps there's this energy that's coming in powerfully, boldly, to try to almost rewire or change your way of thinking. Now, you might be seeing that as an obstacle. You may well come up against some individuals or a group or a particular narrative that's being kind of presented to you that's kind of saying you must change, you have to change, you need to do it this way. This is what needs to be done. And so, there's a cause for an awful lot of internal reflection as you figure out, well, how do I really feel about that? What does that really mean to me? Where do I really want to take that? Because it can't be to the detriment of you losing your uniqueness, of you losing the thing that forms your identity. But for others, there's going to need to be a readdressing of that. Really, who am I? And all of the things that I've believed and the religions I've followed or the spiritual practices that have been such an intrinsic part of my life, you're kind of in this very deep questioning role of everything. So your King, Queen of Swords here coming in as a very sort of, I feel almost like kind of provocative energy to challenge the mind, to challenge the thoughts and say, do you know what, this is time for a complete deeper review, and I think for some of you it's also going to play out powerfully in terms of relationships, because that fourth house looks at unconditional love. And so where you might be feeling that or the lack of it is also causing you to kind of bring an awful lot of wound energy to the surface. Maybe you're feeling the void of that, These air energies are not always able to express themselves very easily. So perhaps you could be coming up against that in terms of different relationships in your life at the moment, where people are not really telling you how they feel. And when we're in Cancer season, that's what we need to hear, isn't it? It's how do you feel? How do you feel about me? Or how do you feel about this subject? Or how do you feel about what's happening? And I think there is that genuine desire from you, Aries, to need to understand that at a wider landscape, because it's going to help you to make sense of sort of where you are and what you think and what you feel. So it's the context of it is important, but I feel like if you're coming up against the challenge of it, again, it might just cause some discomfort within you, because it's why do they not want to share? Or maybe it's you that's feeling emotionally really held back and unable to express yourself or put forward what you want. Again, I kind of have this mediation, very healing energy that's coming through the center of your reading to suggest that actually there are opportunities that you can have to kind of be able to find an outlet. And I think that's going to be really important. You need something to be able to just kind of make sense of what it is that you're processing and what it is that you're feeling, and how it is that you're thinking about moving forward and what you want to be investing your time and energy in. So here we have the card of the Hermit. Now this could link into a Virgo energy, and again, you've got two very powerful spiritual guru energies that are coming into this reading for July for you, Aries. So I'm under no illusion that not only are you going to be receiving really important downloads from your own higher self, from the cosmos, that divine intelligence, but also that you are going to be finding yourself connecting with people that are deeply tuned in and on your vibrational wavelength. And I think that's really going to make the difference of you helping to make sense of different aspects of perhaps what might be unfolding and playing out for you. Now, I do see you kind of turned away from this King of Swords. So, and in the particular depiction here, you know, this king isn't represented with any color. And so I feel like it's even more showing that this person or this situation is very black and white. And that might be a little bit uncomfortable for you. You may be looking at something and saying, actually, it's not so straightforward. And so if someone is really judging you or another person or a situation, or you're looking at like a possibility or an opportunity that's come up and it's feeling that way, black or white, yes or no, right or wrong, and I kind of see you like turning away and almost like having to seek counsel within, or going to those energies that are much more open, shall we say, to the fact that there's an awful lot of grey in this situation. It just isn't so straightforward, and there's a deepness and a complexity, and there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. And I think that validation is going to be important for you. It's almost like you need to be heard and you need to be seen, so that you can try to make sense of this. And you still need to come to your own conclusion. You know, this is not about people kind of like forcing an opinion on you. And if they are, I think you're going to turn away from it, because you need to figure out what's right for you and what's best for you through this month. And I think that you will, because I see this kind of positive, like open energy that begins to emerge from that. But if you feel a bit disconnected, if you feel a bit isolated, or even some sense of like you're grieving almost like a part of yourself, there is this tremendous sense of shedding and purging and clearing that is going on still at the moment. And we have to kind of ride that wave through Cancer season and allow it. It is a journey and it's a process. And I think as you make your way into Leo season, you are going to feel a lot lighter in the energy of that. Okay. Now, if it is a Virgo energy that you're dealing with, and again, it perhaps could be a very, I kind of want to say kind of tricky. It feels complex. It feels difficult if that is the case. And there may even be some sense of hardship that has been connected to it. And perhaps even linking into, to finances, or to probably your emotional security more than anything. I just feel perhaps this situation hasn't made you feel safe. Or this person isn't able right now to present something that makes you feel safe. And again, if that's the case, she's kind of working her way through what looks like quite a wintry scene here. But we need to be reminded that everything is cyclical. So as we work through the seasons, we're meant to come up against all these different types of experiences as we grow, as we evolve, as we expand into the next version of ourselves. We can't step away from the challenge. The challenge is what forms part of who we are. We don't get to be who we're becoming without facing things that feel difficult, so that then we can sit in the space of that and say, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean to me? And what does this show me about myself? What does this reveal to me? And it's through that curiosity and that determination to kind of really like understand that, this isn't about things being ripped away from you or taken away from you, or that you're not worthy, or no, you're not like valuable enough to receive a consistent flow of abundance towards you in whatever form that is: love, money, health. It's about understanding that at a soul contract, we come forward to experience all of these different emotional experiences, and that they all have something really valid and important to teach us, So I think from this learning, from this understanding, you're about to take an enormous shift forward, a huge leap forward in terms of your thinking, and actually ultimately in the way that you want to approach things moving forward. Like we said, figuring out what it is that sustains you, so that you can actually show up in other areas of your life and be successful, and really honouring who you are, the potential that you have, the gifts that you have, what you have to deliver to the situation. So we have this card of knowledge, of course, because this is what it's all about. It's the deeper knowledge that you're learning through this soul searching, through perhaps what has been some hardship or some difficulty, and understanding that none of that defines you. It defines you in the sense of it helps you to become more, but it's not a label that you attach to yourself. It's not like, oh, I'm single, therefore I'm not lovable enough, or I'm skint, therefore like I'm not, I'm not successful, or right now I'm dealing with an illness, so therefore like I'm not a good person because I'm not healthy. you know? So it's like, be careful that you're not attaching the labels to anything. The knowledge here is so rich in terms of possibility, and I think that's what you're gaining most from this next few weeks, and that the eclipse season is really helping to bring that to the forefront for you. I think what you're going to see as well is that there are a lot of situations on the periphery and that are taking place around you that are giving you cause to kind of reflect on your own life, you know, and thinking, okay, so that's how that particular person chose to handle that situation. What would I have done there? And it's almost like looking at it from like a non-judgmental perspective, but being very open. So it's not black and white. It's trying to think, what would it be like if I was walking in that person's shoes? I think that's going to really open up your world in a really incredible way this month, Aries, and help you. It's going to help you to grow and to learn. You know, the more we can come away from that sort of harsh, judgmental standing in the sidelines, and understand that this is about a sense of unity that we're trying to move the collective energy towards. And I think that there are aspects to what play out through 2020 that are hugely important and symbolic in helping you to achieve that. I love that your astrological card is, of course, Mars, which you are the ruler of. Like, how wonderful. And the, you know, the word force. Now, let's just think about that. To force something doesn't feel good, does it? But if you're a force to be reckoned with, then that's super positive. So again, it's the nuances of the language that are so important. It's the way that you interpret things. And remember when we talked about the fact that in retrograde season, things can be misrepresented and misconstrued. So you have to go deeper. You have to dive underneath that. And that's what the Hierophant wants you to do. That's what the Hermit is inviting you to consider. These are spiritual energies that say there's more to this than meets the eye. So if we really want change, if we want to be the initiator and the instigator of like allowing ourselves to move forward and receive more of that goodness into our life in all of the areas that it's showing up, we have to take the information and educate and inform ourselves, and then transmute that and use it to be something that's meaningful to help us forward. Now, interestingly, it's the number 5 here. We have the 5 of coins coming in, and it is a card of contrast. But, you know, say that word. Numerologically speaking, thank you, it is an energy that says where there is contrast in our life, it helps us to birth more. And that's kind of the Tower energy. It's like that cracking open, isn't it? It's like through this sort of the weightiness of something just coming heavy, you know, it's going to crack something open. And that's what I see happening, is just like you are literally set to have that moment of epiphany and understanding that says, oh, wow, I've been doing it this way for so long and it's not working for me. Now I'm going to change it. And all of a sudden you become that force to be reckoned with, because it lands and you get it and you start to apply it and integrate it, which is what it's all about just now. And then your value becomes something that is so much more beyond what you ever perceived. And you really understand your worthiness and your place in the world. So, you know, it's big, bold energies that you're working with, and it's not always easy or comfortable, but it's always valuable. Whale and Orca elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. Well, I think there is the need to dive deep right now. And this beautiful oceanic image that we have here of these kind of crystal clear azure waters linking into that Cancerian energy. And again, you know, these whales and Orca elders is sort of linking into the deeper knowledge and wisdom, and again into the Hierophant, into the Hermit. So you can see how, whether it's through people that are showing up or whether it's just you receiving those, you know, intelligent divine downloads, the information that's coming and the way that you're interpreting and synthesizing it is going to be so valuable for you through this month of July. So keep swimming, keep moving forward, allow yourself to flow with the waves, because these waves are helping to take you on an emotional journey that's just revealing a lot about you, and about what your own wants and needs and desires are, what has felt unmet, and the things that you are now going to start to put in place to realize some of those. And I think that's really incredible. You may well receive some beautiful wisdom from somebody older in your life, perhaps somebody who means the world to you. Maybe it's someone in spirit, or maybe someone in your family, but I do think you're set to kind of receive some interesting and valuable advice. Aries, I hope this has given you a little bit of insight for this month of July. I'm going to go ahead now and pull us some cards for the extended reading. So we talk for another 20 minutes or so with this. We go into the energies in a bit more depth. Now, this is a general reading. So what I'd invite you to do right now is to think about a question that you may not have had answered in this. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple of cards and we'll cover that off in the extended reading. Okay, so just put your focus on that for me just now. Okay, you can find the link for the reading in the description box underneath the video if you want to join me for the extended. So just clarifying that Queen of Swords, we have the card of Strength. We also have the card of the Wheel. So very karmic fated events that are taking place right now. Could be connected to Leo energy here as well. Hanged Man, again, this nod to the spiritual energies that are taking place this month. Beautiful Sun trine with Uranus on the 12th happening. And of course, Neptune also went retrograde on the 23rd of June, helping us to marry up the illusion and the reality of things. So here we have Seven of Swords, and I think this is about self-trust as well. Very much coming through. Card of the Empress and the Knight of Wands. Okay. Again, fire energy showing up here. Often linked to Sagittarius, but again, it could be you or a Leo energy. I don't think this is you in the Knight of Wands. I've got more of a link into the Empress energy, actually, as we look at that in Cancerian 4th house. Okay, so Queen of Cups and Queen of Cups again. So, you know, the influence of what she has to say and what she has to bring, or as a person, is really important for this month of July for you. Let's just pull a couple more there to get some insight. 5 of Wands, 7 of Wands. Okay, a little bit of challenge connected to it. A contrast again. Okay, King of Wands is coming in with that Tower energy. And the Star again. How interesting. 6 of Wands. Oh, some nice success. Stars shining on you in one area. We'll go into that in a bit more detail. 5 of Swords, if you can give yourself permission to go beyond. Okay, Sun energy, beautiful, love that for you, Aries. Sun and the Moon and the Stars, look at that, wow. Very divinely timed opportunity or invitation coming your way this month. Okay, 5 of Coins showing up again connected to this King of Swords. So whatever that situation represents, it feels kind of harsh. So I think you've definitely had something you've had to deal with. Yeah, the Tower. Okay. Knight of Swords. Yeah. May well be an ending or something you're having to let go or release. Magician, nice. You're going to be able to make the best of this and find a new beginning out of it. I promise you that. Look at that. Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, Magician. You're just going to spin it. Queen of Wands, there we go. Right, let's just clarify these Oracle cards. 10 of Wands. Knight of Cups. Oh, interesting. Knight of Pentacles. Okay, Aries, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting the channel. I look forward to continuing this conversation if you're joining me for the extended. Otherwise, I wish you bright blessings for this month. Take good care. Bye for now.